You might think that because cyberbullying usually takes place at home on student-owned devices, that it's the parents' problem, not the schools. But cyberbullying is increasingly becoming a problem for America's schools. So today, I'd like to talk to you about what cyberbullying is, why schools should care about it, and what schools can and should do to respond to and prevent cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is simply bullying that takes place using electronic technology. Anything posted online that's intended to hurt or upset someone else can be considered cyberbullying. Behavior that is harassing, threatening, demeaning, or embarrassing is considered cyberbullying. So is posting mean comments or sexual remarks, or spreading rumors about someone online. Cyberbullying can take place on social media, through instant messaging, chat rooms, email, texting, and mobile devices. It can take a number of different forms: excluding one person from a group chat, sharing embarrassing, cruel, or false information, pretending to be someone that you're not, or posting inflammatory comments intended to get a rise out of someone can all be considered cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is on the rise, largely because kids have more access to technology. 93% of kids have computers at home, 66% have personal cell phones, and 76% have another multimedia device, such as an iPad or tablet. Why should you, as a teacher, care about cyberbullying? Well, 54% of schools report occasional problems with cyberbullying. Only 19% of schools report no problems with cyberbullying. 1/3 to 1/2 of kids have been targeted by a cyberbully, and 70% of kids say that rumors have been spread about them online. Victims of cyberbullying are more likely to suffer from depression and anxiety. They're more likely to engage in self-harm, to skip class, develop an eating disorder, and develop a problem with alcohol or drug abuse. Cyberbullying victims are twice as likely to attempt suicide. So cyberbullying is something that we should all worry about. Now, you might be wondering, why does the school play a role in cyberbullying if it takes place at home? Well, courts have ruled that students do have freedom of expression, but their freedom of expression has limits. Freedom of expression is not allowed if it disrupts learning, interferes with education or discipline, uses school technology to harass, or threatens other students or infringes on their civil rights. So, if students are using school technology to engage in cyberbullying behavior, then the school definitely has a right to step in. But even if students are using their own devices to cyberbully, schools can step in if the cyberbullying interferes with what's happening at school, if it threatens other students, or it infringes on their civil rights. Cyberbullying is different from traditional bullying in that it follows kids everywhere. Something embarrassing could happen at school, and then a kid can get cyberbullied about it at home. And the cyberbullying that happens at home can then follow kids to school. As a result, courts have allowed civil lawsuits against alleged cyberbullies, their parents, and their schools for not stopping or preventing the cyberbullying. Let's look a little bit more at what the courts have said about when schools can and can't discipline kids for off-campus cyberbullying. In JS versus Bethlehem Area School District in 2000, the court ruled that schools can discipline students for off-campus behavior if it disrupts the school environment. In Kowalski versus Berkeley County Schools in 2001, the court ruled that schools can discipline speech if it collides with the rights of others. However, in Emmett versus Kent School District number 415 in 2000, the court ruled that schools have to demonstrate a real, credible threat to discipline a student for something that happens off campus. And in JS versus Blue Mountain School District in 2011, the court ruled that schools must show a substantial disturbance to the learning environment. So schools do have some authority to discipline students for off-campus cyberbullying, but they have to show a substantial disturbance, a real threat, or an interference with the rights of others. In other words, it's pretty complicated. So how should schools deal with cyberbullying? The first step is to develop a policy. Schools should define harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and then create graduated consequences, not a one-size-fits-all policy. The school should outline procedures for reporting and investigating cyberbullying, and stipulate that off-campus behavior can be disciplined if it disrupts the learning environment or infringes on students' rights. Finally, the school should teach kids how to prevent cyberbullying. That includes debunking perceptions of digital behavior. We need to teach kids what appropriate online behavior is and isn't. Kids need to know that the comments that they post today have real consequences and could follow them forever. Perhaps most important, we need to build empathy and understanding. We need to help kids understand that the comments that they make really can hurt other people. We need to help kids learn how to see the world and see their behavior from other people's perspectives. We also need to teach online safety, teach strategies for kids to use to stand up to cyberbullies, and engage parents in our bullying prevention practices. When we're thinking about disciplining kids for cyberbullying, we want to think more about guiding kids and teaching kids rather than harsh punishment. We need to remember that kids' brains are still developing. They don't always understand the consequences of their actions, and they have a hard time seeing things from other kids' perspectives. So we don't want to publicly shame kids for cyberbullying. We don't want to enact zero tolerance policies, and we don't automatically want to go to really harsh penalties. This could create an us versus them environment where kids might actually be more likely to engage in cyberbullying. Or at the very least, it may drive cyberbullying behavior further underground. Instead, our focus should be on developing a positive school climate where kids know each other, they're connected, they care about each other. We want to create a culture where kids know that cyberbullying isn't okay and they help one another stand up for each other. We do need to teach kids what to do when they encounter cyberbullying. That includes reporting it to the school, talking to adults, collecting evidence like screenshots, reporting the cyberbullying to the app, game, or website where it takes place, and working together to protect each other and stand up against bullying. We need to teach kids to tell bullies to stop, not to be silent when they or their friends are the target of bullies. And finally, we need to teach kids how to be safe. We teach kids to avoid dangerous situations in the real world. We need to teach them to avoid dangerous places online as well. If you're interested in learning more about what cyberbullying is and how to prevent it, here are some great resources you might check out. Technology opens up the world to our students. Our kids have so many opportunities today because of technology. As teachers, our job is to show kids the world, but our job is also to keep them safe.